Probably bring this down so that you guys can actually hear me. Good morning, good evening, good day, and good night. It might help if I put my glasses on so I can actually so that I can see. Might be might be mildly productive. Hope you're all doing well today. It's just been a while since I've heard some Octopath music. I'm just kind of vibing right now. I'm not gonna lie. uh, I should play that game again. That game is so much fun. Those games were so much fun. I enjoyed them a lot. I put that right over there. All right. So we have a little bit of format work to do today. So we're gonna do the good old creation thing, you know, as you do. And we're gonna, well, make those spells that we were thinking about. Whether or not they actually make it through, another story and another question entirely. Another story, we'll see what happens. But for now, we're gonna make these spells and we're gonna see what happens. Ow. So, Mercurial Weapon. So, my thoughts on this. Mercurial Weapon. We're just gonna copy this right here rather than me trying to type out the formatting. This is going to be a bonus action. Actually, no, it's just going to be an action. An action. Concentration. No. 1 hour. Verbal, somatic. I'm going to actually make this material as well. A sliver of silver, cold iron, adamantium, how do you spell adamantium? Yeah. Mithril. Okay. A sliver of silver, cold iron, adamantium, or mithril. I should actually be doing this. Of adamantium, silver, cold iron, or mithril. For silver, alphabetize it, and it keeps silver away from sliver. That way you're less likely to get tongue-tied along the way. A sliver of adamantium, cold iron, mithril, or silver. 1 hour. I actually forgot one important thing, which is... description. I forgot to put description in these. Oh. Ugh. That was bad. I don't like that. Okay. Let's do ourselves a little favor here. Do a little looky look. A little looky look at magic weapon. Alright. You touch a non-magical... Oh, it's... Magic weapon is a bonus action. Excellent. Let's see here. I need to put an auto mod in for that. I need to figure out how to do an auto mod for that. Alright. Description. So, let's see here. Magic weapon is... You touch a non-magical weapon until the spell ends. We're just gonna copy this because it is the same thing. Touch your magical weapon until the spell ends. Your weapon becomes that of shifting metal. That shifting metal, taking on whatever properties best suit it for the target that it is hitting. Is there a way to search monster by weakness on 5e tools? I think there is. Let's see how viable this idea is, actually. Filter. Tags. Group. Vulnerability types. Slashing and piercing conditional. Oh, hold on, not vulnerabilities. Actually, yeah, we want vulnerabilities. And then we want slashing, piercing, bludgeoning conditionals for resistance. Same thing for immunity. That is the incorrect. Okay. Immunity conditional. So, like, for example, Akarak. Piercing damage from non-magical attacks. Okay. Do we have a werewolf in here? Were creatures are in here. Okay. So this list is approximately how long? The 129 of the... It is 129 of the nearly 5,000 monsters that they have. Only about a dozen or so are from the monster. Oh no, that's from Mordenkainen's. None of which are from the 2024 rule set. Okay, let's try this. Let's go with all vulnerabilities. There's only 168 that have a vulnerability. Gosh. What about resistances? How many in this game have resistances? About a quarter. Okay. I hate this part of the 5e design. There's no damage expression. Right? Like resistance being half is just like it's so uninteresting. It makes sense and it's easy to calculate at the table, but God, is it uninteresting. Same thing with vulnerability. Like vulnerability is so rare. It's less. It is 0.25%, I think. Hold on. No, 1% would be 40. So about 4%. Yeah, so about 4% of the monsters in the monster manual have a vulnerability. Likewise, a quarter of the monsters have a resistance of some kind. No wonder it's just damage number go burr instead of damage types. Like, yeah, there's some cases where, like, oh, demons have this resistance and undead have this resistance, but... that is hitting it. Allowing you to... this is also not 4th level conjuration. This would be 2nd level transmutation. Yeah. Oh, they already have access to magic weapon. Okay, so I may not even actually want to make this then. Best that is allowing you to strike a vulnerability. If the creature has one. And strike a vulnerability if the creature has one. And ignoring if they don't. And ignoring resistances should it apply. And ignoring resistance. Same caveat as before. Early. If you cast it again. Do I want to add upcasting to this? I don't know if I do. I think we should just leave it as is. Most of the time, magic weapon is only good if you're in a low magic setting. I kind of expect this to fall into the same kind of category where it's a very specific kind of thing. It only comes up if you prepare with it, if you have it prepared and are ready to go. It does bypass resistances, which, you know, does sometimes come up. Like, for example, how often do you have slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning resistances? Let's just check those specifically. Bludgeoning, piercing, not piercing, additional piercing, slashing. Those three resistances come up a mere 126 times. 3% of creatures possess that resistance. And a very large chunk of them are CR1 and below. Nearly a quarter. To be fair, that's when it actually matters. So this is actually mostly irrelevant. Allowing the weapon to strike a vulnerability if the creature has one, and ignore any effective resistances. If they have any. So this, I would hope that that this makes it clear that this is like, if your weapon does more than one damage type, this allows you to bypass any, like if your weapon does cold damage and it's being resisted, you can bypass it with this. A piece of me wants to just go 5th level. Your weapon is considered to do vulnerability damage to the target, but I think that's way too powerful. Considering that it, I kind of wanted it to be bonuses against specific creatures. Against a Fae, Fiend, Celestial, Fae, Celestial, Fiend, Aberration, Elemental,
Greetings, traveler.
I don't know if there's anyone else that I'm supposed to, any other creature types I should put in there. Luna, thank you very much for the follow. How's it going? Greetings and salutations. Good to see you skulking about. Since you have a particularly good view, how's the forecast? Where did I put... Here we go. Constructs... Should I actually have this... Hold on. No. I got a better idea. If you attack a creature that is your favorite... a type that you have chosen as your favorite enemy, do I make it so they take bonus damage, or do I want to give the player something else? Because you already have Hunter's Mark. This comes on level 5. Your damage isn't suffering too much because you have a second attack. You still have to concentrate on Hunter's Mark. And I don't want this to be a thing where you can just buff stack. Being very careful about that. But Ranger buff stacking, I think, is fine to an extent. That creature takes an extra $2d6. We'll go 1d6. It's not concentration. It's a whole hour of weapon damage once a round. If it's your favorite enemy. So you can basically pass your knowledge of your favorite enemy onto your teammates' weapons and make it so that you can exploit them further, so that your teammates can exploit them. Or you can exploit them. This does make you particularly lethal against enemies that are of your favorite enemy. Still has uses outside of that. Like, it still has its uses because it lets you bypass get the vulnerabilities or resistances of things such as lichens, elementals, and things like that, if they happen to be resilient to damage types that you are using. And if it happens to be your favorite enemy, you get that little bit extra. I have a thing in here for at higher levels. Here it is. It's just at higher levels? Okay. At higher levels, casting this spell at a... Do we want to go 5th? Or do we want to do 4th? I don't think we have anything in particular at 4th that we're looking to be utilizing as long-term damage. So you have kill zone. Fourth or fifth level spell slot increases the damage to 2d6. Increases the damage to 2d6. Go with additional targets, 1 per level, +1. It's going to be very strong in the right situation, though. That's fair. Although I don't have a problem. So I don't have a problem with people having situationally very powerful stuff. But this does make it so that this does give you a category of enemies that, and if you were theming an adventure around, let's say you theme your adventure around undead, right? Because that's an easy one to theme your adventure around. And then you have a ranger in the party, and he takes undead as his favorite enemy. This spell being able to cast a wide net at later level, to be fair, this would be level 9, he can get 2 party members, and then at level 13 it's 3, which is pretty late, all things considered. And then 4 at level 17. So I don't think that's actually a bad scaling, because it starts at 2nd, right? Riley Jeans, thank you. How's it going? Glad you're here. But this is supposed to be a situationally powerful spell. Waveless 117 lurk. Thank you for the lurk. Appreciate it. Wavy lays. My apologies. I think I said that wrong. The whole concentration thing is a mess, really. Yeah, this is not meant to be concentration. This is meant to be a spell. This is something that you can do in response to an area. I'm cleaning up the concentration thing on the ranger in their features, and so one of the other things I did is I just completely lifted. Tenant Monk happened to be doing or Trent Monk's Temple. Chris, the guy's name is fucking Chris. Jeez, and I'm lagging. What the hell? That was really bad. Chris is taking it upon himself to release a series of videos of him rebuilding the Ranger as well. So, you know, that happened to be happening at the same time. Because he doesn't know me at all. I don't know his schedule. I just happen to notice that he's doing the same thing I'm doing. So what he did, he's taking a slightly different approach than I am, which is fine. But there's something that he did that I thought was very, very helpful. Was very, very. Oh. That I thought was very, very smart and very good. And that was, let's see here. Let's see here. Make sure that this is the correct one. Yeah. Make sure it's there. There we go. It's a bit of a weird spot there. Yeah, there we go. I'm watching D&D for the first time. Is this interface of the game, or is it some other thing? So this is actually Obsidian, which is a note-taking piece of software. I just have a theme downloaded that makes it kind of look like a dark scale version of the player's handbook. Captain Claire, I have all links blocked on my channel on my stream, so I need you to tell me what that is instead. Is this discussion for revision of a single playable class? Yeah. So what I'm talking about is, so there's a class in 5th edition and even in 5.5, which is basically the newest version because it had a major update, of the game, where the Ranger is just a class that has kind of been left in the dust the entire time. It's constantly getting really poor stuff, like below average pretty much all the time. And they've tried to fix it 3 times now. I missed a space after a full stop. Oh, that sucks. Really? It's that picky on it? That's kind of silly. I mean, I guess it has to be, but still. I think I'll set it up so that it holds it. At some point, I'll set it up so that it holds the message rather than just deletes it. Anyways, the Ranger has some issues. And earlier this week, I think on Sunday actually, I went a massive amount of digging through all the various things that the Ranger has and how good they are, why they're good, etc. So it turns out that the Ranger,
Greetings, traveler.
Waveless, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. The Ranger is actually quite fine. It's actually pretty good. All the way up to about level somewhere between 6 and 8, depending who you ask, is when the Ranger kind of caps out. It depends who you ask, and it depends what subclass you're using. Approximately in that time frame, people kind of agree that the Ranger is kind of capping out there. Everything from like 9th level onwards, everyone generally agrees the Ranger just isn't getting enough. And you are increasingly getting a larger gap between what other classes are getting and what you are getting. So you are getting diminishing returns by nature, and then your teammates are also getting exponential returns as they level up as well. So you go from being arguably one of the best martial-oriented damage dealers in the game, from that to like laughably bad at almost everything other than a couple of expertise skill checks towards the end of the game, or towards the later levels, I should say. So a couple of things that I'm doing. So a number of things. First of which is I addressed a bunch of class features. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit. This is a little bit loud. I can't do it there? Okay. Yeah, try to. There we go. So the long and short of it is that I'm adjusting a bunch of things to allow for the Ranger to do better. Do you choose a defensive 2-weapon or 2-hand weapon fighting style? You do have a choice of that later, early on. So funny enough, so I'll actually just go over this real quick, actually. I'll keep this open and I'll just minimize it. That way it goes away. If we go down to the features that I've added, the Ranger features from 1st and 2nd are very slightly changed. They basically add like 1 or 2 things that I miss from every Ranger prior to that. Looks very like VS Code. Oh, the Google Doc. The Google Doc is actually not my creation. So the only thing I added was I added a two creature type for favorite enemy at level 1, and you learn a language for each of them. I also made so that you can upcast. Where is it? You can also upcast Hunter's Mark with utilizing your favorite enemy class feature, because I feel like that's something that you should be able to do. Either you have to be able to upcast it, or you need to just have it auto upcasted. One of the two. I prefer the upcasting, and I'll get into why in a little bit. But and then level 9, I got rid of the 2 languages because they went into the favorite enemy thing, and then just added favorite terrain to give you a little bit more of like an actual explorer kind of thing. I love mixing wizard with the ranger. It's a cool idea. And then I literally left the ranger completely untouched in the base class all the way up to level 9, because getting extra movement speed is good. Your subclass features are a different conversation. Most of them are not bad. And then the movement options at level 6 are great. So I don't see a reason to change those. So from level 9 onwards, I just got rid of one of the expertises that you got and gave them evasion, because they used to get evasion. I don't know why my computer's freaking out there, but whatever. Got rid of... we changed Tireless to be more front-loaded, and moved Foe Slayer to level 10, made it not laughable. So you have advantage on creatures that have... Please invest in Firewall's friend. Level 13, you just get immunity to the frightened and poisoned condition. I brought back hide in plain sight, and then made some alterations to it, and so I gave it a different name. I might give it back its old name, truth be told. Change Relentless Hunter so that it also doesn't suck. We kept the 18th and 16th level features. Or not 15th. 15th and 16th level 15th and 18th level features, because they were just fine. And then we changed the capstone so that it feels like you're playing an actual ambusher, like an actual hunter. You can't be surprised. You always go first. You no longer lose the invisible condition if you are attacking while you have it. And opportunity attacks against you are made with disadvantage. You are like the best ambusher / skirmisher. And it's level 20. You should have something really cool. Like, you get to, if somebody casts invisibility on you, you just get to keep it. It's level 20. Go nuts. Like, the paladin just gets flight, along with some other stuff. Like, this is arguably underdoing it still. So, anyways, but one of the big things that watch out, Magic Sealer Road. Dude, I'm so excited for that. That looks cool as hell. I did a review of that. Like that's the thing, is like the rogue in my mind, I don't like some of the things about 5th edition. I have a lot of issues with it. Including but not limited to like the advantage disadvantage system, because practically it's very good. It's a very smart game design as a tabletop board game. Very smart design for that. It is incredibly bad mathematically. It is terrible for the game math-wise, which is a shame. There's two other forms of like advantage that I've seen that I actually like more. And that is, I think I saw it through specifically through Lancer, which is if you have advantage, you get a D6 added. Why do you think it's mathematically bad? Because of diminishing returns. So the only time that advantage disadvantage is particularly powerful is when you are so the way that advantage disadvantage works is the more close you are to it being a coin flip, the more benefit you get from having it. So here's a good way of thinking about it. If you have to roll a 15 or higher, that means that there's a 25% chance that you'll succeed. And if you don't, and 75% of the chance that you'll fail. Well, you get 25% of the 75% added to your die roll in probability of that succeeding. So you only have a 38, 39% chance of succeeding by having advantage. But if you need an 11, which means you need a 50% chance to succeed, you have 50% of 50% being added. So you get 25% added. So it turns a 50% odds into 75% odds. So you get diminishing returns the further away you are from it being a coin flip. Specifically coin flip, because if you have a really high chance of succeeding, you get almost no real benefit from it. Or you get a very small benefit, because there's only, say you need an 18 to succeed, right? Say you need a 3 to succeed. There's a 10% chance that you fail. Okay, so 10% of the time, you get 90%. So you are adding 9% to your die roll from 90%. That's diminishing returns, right? You only get 9% as opposed to 25%. So it doesn't make anything go from from almost certain to actually certain. It just keeps that almost certain. Guaranteed to fail means that you're still guaranteed to fail. But you also have the ability bonus too. No. This is after you add that. So if you account for all modifiers. So say the DC is 12, or say the DC is 16, and you have a +5. It's a coin flip, right? 11 plus succeeds, 10 and lower fails. That's what I'm talking about. Specifically, the amount that you need on the die roll to succeed. Now, there's other factors in there, sure, but that's why I think advantage in of itself is generally bad for the game on a mathematical level, because it creates a perception of good value that makes things more likely to succeed. But if you're very unlikely to, but the problem I have with it is if you're very unlikely to succeed and you roll with advantage, you're still very unlikely to succeed. If you need an 18, 19, 20 on the die roll and you roll 2 of them, the odds that you're going to get an 18, 19, 20 are still not good. That's why I don't like it. I would prefer something additive. Now, I'm not saying that a +2 is an appropriate substitute. No. I think a +4 is like maybe the closest that you can do it as a flat. But it's also very swinging in nature. But yeah, I think the idea that Lancer had, which was it just gives you a D6 or subtracts a D6 from your result, is a much more stable form of advantage disadvantage, and then you can just keep stacking dice in whatever direction. Alternatively, Draw Steel has, I believe, a +1. They use a different math system of 2d6, so it's a different conversation. But or 2d, is it 2d6 or 2d10? I can't remember. You use 2 dice, and then you get a +1. If you have 2 pluses, you just get the next tier of success, which is, I think, effectively like a +3 or something like that. if you want consistency, why would you use a D20 based system in the first place? So there is a heavy form of consistency in a D20 based system. The difference is that you're trading off is that there's a certain form of consistency to it, but adding advantage, it decreases the consistency greatly. Like in terms of the mathematical stability of the game. Now I don't hate disadvantage in of itself in 5th edition, by the way. I think it's a fine mechanic. What the real problem is with it, because of what I've explained thus far, is not that it exists, because I think rerolls are fine. My actual big problem is how prevalent it is. Because it's used for everything. It's used for frightened, it's used for poisoned, it's used for reckless, it's used for everything. Granted, now I think it's smart inside of the design space that the 5th edition was going for, which is they're looking for simplicity. They're looking to make the game very easy to understand, very easy to run. And advantage, disadvantage does that. It does that extremely well. I just think the math of the game just breaks down if you have it everywhere. And the reason, and ultimately the big reason as to why this is a problem for me specifically, it's not a deal breaker or anything. It's just my own criticisms of the game, because the game is far from perfect. Is that I try to run for new people all the time, right? And because I want to introduce people to the TTRPG hobby. And I really like Pathfinder. I really like Pathfinder. I started playing it late last year. Me and a bunch of people are doing a West March. To all kind of dip our toes. There's 18 of us or something like that. That are doing this, and we're dipping so that we can dip our toes into it. And the problem that I have with Pathfinder is that Pathfinder is, from the outside looking in, is very intimidating. Because there's a lot. A lot. And the math is very big, is really important. And understanding the math, and the big thing about 5th edition is that you can get your math sorted out, set it, and forget it, and just keep using it. Pathfinder, the math is constantly changing, so it requires a little bit of your attention constantly. So as a result, a lot of people are going to turn away from it because of that. I think Pathfinder is actually easier to run than 5th edition, funny enough. But that's me. I also grew up playing, stacking numbers in my games. All right, we got ads coming up, so we're gonna run those real quick. I'm gonna go make myself some coffee, and then we'll get right back into, and then we'll get back on topic. Get away from my rant. Alrighty. Pads are over. Excellent. Okay. I love primeval awareness as a ranger. Yeah, primeval awareness was something that I was trying to fit in to this, but I couldn't find a way to fit it in without, like, either A, just straight up replacing the second level feature, which I didn't want to do. Like, I couldn't find a way to put primeval awareness back into the kit in a good spot, because the only kind of places that I can see it coming in is prior to 5, which means it has to be first or second. And then, but there's no real spot for me to fit in there without taking away from something else. And then, well, then by the time it matters, we're all the way up to like 9th level for stuff in terms of like design space. So it's like, yeah. Kind of whatever. So I was like, it was one of the things I kind of had to leave on the, had to sacrifice to make it work out a little better. Having over 50 feats to use plus a ton of background features is great. Well, to be fair, it sounds like a lot, right? But everything in the game is called a feat. So the thing is like, so when you think about it this way, at level 3, as much as we'll just stick to the conversation of the ranger, just to kind of keep it simple. If I go back to the ranger class on 5e tools real quick here, you have your background feat, your origin feat in 5th edition, in 5.5. You have, that's the rogue, not the ranger. You have favorite enemy. You have weapon mastery. You have deft explorer. You have fighting style. And then you have your ranger subclass. By level 3, you have what is the equivalent of 6 features to Pathfinder. Like, those would be considered features. Feats. So, it's really not that different. It's just because the way that it's labeled, it seems more daunting. And most feats that you get for characters in Pathfinder, most of the things that they have either provide you a new option for something that you already want to do, or they make the thing that you're already doing better, usually by adding some sort of rider. So it's a lot of the time it's like, oh, I'm already doing this, I'm just better at it now. A lot of the times it works out to be stuff like that. There are exceptions, obviously, and spellcasters get fewer feats than non-spellcasters, you know, because they get spellcasting. But I think that Pathfinder did a really, really good job, or Paizo did a really, really good job with Pathfinder overall. It is... Now, I haven't had a chance to actually play through Draw Steel yet. Draw Steel looks really, really, really fucking fun. Yeah, like I'm hoping to play that at some point, because that game looks fun. It's very clear. It reminds me a lot of 4th edition for D&D, which is cool. There's so many dynamics to teach RPGs. Yeah, the best ones are the ones that have like a very clear focus in mind. So like Daggerheart and Draw Steel, for example, are obviously the 2 more popular ones. But they're also really well designed, because they both have a very clear vision of what it is that they are trying to do. 5.5 is definitely better than 5th edition, because 5.5 has abandoned its attempts to be things that it's not. Because 5.5 is a combat system for monsters. Like, that's what it is. There are other elements in there, but it's a combat system for players. And that's fine. It leans into it. All right. Let's actually get something fucking done here. 'Cause so far, the only thing I've gotten done is just a second level spell, and I've been streaming for over an hour. This I don't think is just good. I just don't think this is gonna be a spell. This is something... I'm gonna do this. No, this. There we go. Alright, blockade. Level 2, oops. Conjuration. Nope. Conjuration. This is supposed to be bonus action. This. This needs to be bonus action as well. Maybe. We'll see. A carved cube of wood. Duration, 1 minute. All right. All right, bonus action. Create a 5-foot solid block of wood. Oh, I forgot to put range. This is meant to be silly, but I actually think that this could be a second level spell, hilariously enough. We'll put it at 60 feet. Create a 5-foot solid block of wood in a space that you can see. Appears on the ground. Would it be possible to blockade as transmutation? I'm thinking that it might be transmutation just because of the material component that I put in. Yeah. Bear in mind, these are meant to be ranger exclusive spells. Appears on the ground. Appears... you create a 5-foot solid block of wood in a space in an... block of wood in an empty space you can see. I actually don't think there's any more description that I need to give for this. It's a 5-foot solid block of wood. Like, this is literally, this is just the spell. I guess I could put the weight of a block. How heavy is a 5-foot block of wood? Archer's buff. Just cover buff, period. It also creates a spot in which that the rogue can hide. Yeah. All right. How heavy is a 5-foot cube of wood? A cube of wood would weigh somewhere between 3,750 pounds and 5,625 pounds, depending upon the species and moisture content. So about 4,000. So about 4,000 pounds, then we'll say. That's 1 to 1/2 tons. Yep, approximately. Thousand, a little. It is around. It is somewhere in the ballpark of. Actually, the light end is about 1.25 tons, about 1.2 tons, and then the heavy end is about 2.4. No. Yeah. 2.3, 2.2. But yeah, either case, it's about a ton. It's, on average, it's about 1.5 tons of wood. It's a lot of wood. I think a lot of people forget how big 5 feet, like, actually is. It's approximately 4,000. Approximately 4,000 pounds. A 5-foot block of wood in an empty space on the ground. On the ground that you can see. Approximately 4,000 pounds. And is completely solid. The other thing this also does is it lets you hide magic too. Because 5 feet of wood will definitely block line of sight for magic, like for detect magic as well. A buff that someone may or may not immediately think of. No upcasting for this one. Okay. I think I'm going to forget about these two. And just not worry about them. I don't need to have both of these spells. I was looking to add like maybe one spell from 2nd level to the Ranger's repertoire, and then like 2 4th level spells specifically to the Ranger's repertoire, because the Ranger, oh my gosh, what the hell is happening with my camera? The Ranger doesn't have any 4th level Poor Charlie. McLeod just entered a warehouse to face another immortal, and I know Charlie's going to be shot. I do not know this reference. Yeah, I don't know this reference. Highlander, the TV series? Okay. Yeah, I don't think I didn't watch a lot of stuff now that I think about it. There's a lot of stuff I didn't watch. Oh, boy. Okay. Now the big, ugly, and scary. The precious subclasses. Okay, so this is gonna be a real fun topic. There are 4 subclasses as of right now that overall are a little underwhelming. And we're going to start with one of them. So, the Hunter, so they get, so levels are, so class levels are levels 3, 7, 11, and 15. We're actually gonna just cut that from there and put it here. So, the Hunter. So some goals that we have with the subclasses. First things first. I gotta establish some parameters. So one of the things that I want to do, subclass, is I want each subclass, this is all subclass stuff, to have a means of using favored enemy resource. Right? I want there to be an alternative option to Hunter's Mark for your favorite enemy stuff. If you're the glue, like, this can be something like, maybe you can cast invisibility as the Fey Wanderer. Maybe you can cast darkness as the Gloomstalker. I don't know. Something like that. An alternative means of spell casting, because that's what favorite enemy looks like to me. An alternative means of you casting spells. Let's give you an let's use that, rather than putting it on Hunter's Mark all the time. It also lets you lean into the subclass a little bit more. Now, I would like to point out the changes that that Chris made to the spells. He rebalanced the Ranger exclusive spells, which I think was a really smart thing to do. He made them a little bit more like smites, those smite-like spells that the Ranger did have. He changed them so that their damage was not saving throw conditional, because that was dumb. And that was kind of it. He made some minor alterations here and there to most of them. The big one that he did is he made a change to Hunter's Mark. And he made it so that Hunter's Mark, if you cast it with a 3rd level spell slot, it no longer requires concentration. And his reasoning behind this, and I actually kind of agree with this, is specifically around the idea of bestow curse. And when you consider that Hunter's Mark is a Ranger exclusive spell, right? You can't grab it any other way than getting a level in Ranger. Now, dipping one level into Ranger is not hard, but it's the only way to get that spell is to dip into Ranger. You can't get it from Magical Secrets. You can't get it from Magic Initiate. You can't, like, there's no other way to get it. Outside of, like, specific subclasses and stuff like that. And let's be honest, once you're casting third level spells, unless you're in a position where you're kind of forced to use Hunter's Mark, you're probably not going to use it very much. Which is why at level 10 I gave it a benefit. If you're in Ranger specifically. Which was very specifically Postlayer. Which if the creature is your favorite enemy, you just permanently have advantage if they're under the effects of Hunter's Mark. Done. Simple. That's pretty nice. It's at level 10 instead of level 17. Also, because that's when the Ranger got it originally. I think there's an argument to be made that may not be particularly strong, because advantage is really abundant. Level 11 should be damage oriented. Level 11 should be damage oriented. It doesn't have to be damage oriented, but it should be damage oriented. The reason is because that's when you are entering the next tier of play, and that's when everybody else is getting their damage perks. Level 11 is a damage perk level across the board. You need to have, like, 9 through 11 is like the damage perk range. So you have to be getting it in there. They're not getting it from 9. They're not getting it from 10. They're not getting it from, and they're not getting it from 9, and they're not getting it from 10. So they gotta get it from 11. And I think it being part of the subclass features is kind of already there anyways. So it's fine. I'm gonna grab my coffee. Be right back. All right, I have returned. With coffee. All right. Oh man, I needed that. All right, so let's start with the hunter and see where we need to go. So, what does the hunter get? You gain one of the following features of your feature options of your choice whenever you finish short long rest. You can replace one of them. Colossus Slayer. When a creature you hit with a weapon deals... When you hit a creature with a weapon deals 100, an extra 100, wow. An extra D8 of damage to the target is missing any of its hit points. You can deal this extra damage only once per turn. That's pretty appropriate. I think that's fine. Breaker. On each of your turns, when you make an attack with a weapon, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within within 5 feet of the original target that is within the weapon's range and that you haven't attacked this turn. I think this is fine as is. I don't think the hunter requires any changes. This being a like, hey, you get a small little damage perk to your damage consistency at 3rd level. I think this is fine. The ranger's damage output at levels 1 through 5 is insanely powerful already because of Hunter's Mark. So I don't think there's any changes needed here. At level 7, level 7, this is where I'm thinking that they should be getting the benefit of like a spell, right? They should get some sort of spell casting option, because this is when you start to, because at level 7, let's see here. At level 7, you have 3 uses of your Hunter's Mark, of your favorite enemy ability. That's not a lot, but it's enough to go, I can cast a 2nd level spell with it, and then a 1st level spell Hunter Mark with it. You know, you can do something like that. But by level 9, right, after you get a major feature, like a feat of an ASI, and once you get expertise and evasion, you're going to have 4 uses, which means that you can now do 2 things. You can either A, cast Hunter's Mark as a 3rd level spell, and have it for 8 hours, and just not have to worry about concentrating on it. Or you can have 2 castings of Hunter's Mark, and you have a 2nd level spell at your disposal. Some combination thereof, right? There's a number of ways that you can approach that. So I think 7th level is a good level to get, one extra. You get 1 to 1.5 castings of a spell when you immediately, and then at level 9 you get up to 2 spell castings of it if you want, and that's if you want to abandon Hunter's Mark, right? You still have the option of abandoning Hunter's Mark, because we're not really tying the ranger to Hunter's Mark in the sense of the core class. That's the other thing I wanted to do, is remove that. The only feature that you want to use Hunter's Mark for is Foe Slayer. And all it does is it forces you, is that it makes it so that you have advantage on that target as well. Now, that's decent, and especially if you don't have to concentrate on it anymore by casting a 3rd level spell cast of it, that's not terrible. The only other time it matters is your 17th level feature, which is you already have 5 total. You have 6 total uses of it, so you can cast it for 8 hours twice, or you can use 5 uses of it and cast it for 24 hours. Yeah, when you have advantage on the attack roll, which means if you would have advantage. So if you have advantage regularly, this is still useful. If you don't, you may not even use it. And you reduce the target to 0 hit points. You can move the Hunter's Mark to a new target without using your bonus action once per turn. So this lets you kind of split up the damage in a more effective way with Hunter's Mark. This does make the argument that level 17 onwards, you're tying the ranger to Hunter's Mark. And I definitely can see that. I don't dislike the idea of the ranger being tied to Hunter's Mark quite significantly, because I will still want to keep with the design that Wizards of the Coast has done. But the way that you make it better is that you create spell options for the players to use other than Hunter's Mark that keep pace. So I think overall, this is okay. All right, back to this. 7th level. So 7th level for the hunter. You gain one of the features options of your choices. Whenever you finish short rest, you can replace one of these with the air one. Opportunity attacks have disadvantage against you. Just flat period. Multi-attack defense. When a creature hits you with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on all other attack rolls against you this turn. So this is going to clash a little bit with my Paragon ability, which is opportunity attacks against you have disadvantage. It does clash with that a little bit. That does mean that multi-attack defense is just going to always be better. But that means you get both, right? I don't see this as ultimately a problem. But it can feel bad a little bit. But it does mean that you just get both, inevitably, at the end. Now, here's the real question. Hold on a second here. So, why is it lagging? Holy, what the heck happened? Alright, there we go. Alright, there we go. Let's see here. Are you building a Mystic subclass for the Ranger? The Mystic subclass is not out yet. Furthermore, I don't see a lot of the... If my memory serves, when I reviewed it, I don't believe the Ranger needed... Was there a Ranger in the Mystic stuff? I don't think there was. It was a Monk, Paladin, Warlock, and Rogue, right? Okay. No, I probably won't. If I do, it will be a different project for a later time, and that'll be around the time that I'm no longer rangered out. I did cover it. Um, you know what? I was trying to think of a spell that I can give the ranger at different each of these rangers. Um, we're gonna keep third, so seventh level feature is, in all honesty, not great. It's not terrible, but it's not bad. I actually think that they have access to probably um, a really, really good thing that they can use, especially in combination with their ability to just kind of like disengage from combat already. No change. What do I want to call this? No change. Add. What do we want to call this? Do we just call this primeval spellcasting? Just to kind of pay homage to it? Just to pay homage to the feature that's gone. All right. You can tap into your favored your tactics. You may cast spells your magical prowess has increased to allow you to cast magic side of... You know what? Forget the flavor. Forget the flavor. May now cast the spike growth. This should be italicized. Spell using your favored enemy class, using your favorite enemy resource. Using your favorite enemy resource. You may upcast costs a number of uses equal to the spell level you are casting it at. You cannot cast this spell at a slot higher than your high spell, than your highest spell slot. There. Basically, you can cast Spike Growth using your favorite foe feature, and you can cast it at higher levels once you have the higher level spell slots to support it. And this just I think Spike Growth is a really good option on the Hunter, specifically. It gives you a bit of battlefield control, which is one of the things that the Hunter doesn't necessarily lack, but it kind of leans into that feature that they get at 7 already, which is they can kind of just, if they have the Horde escape the Horde, they have opportunity attacks of disadvantage. So it's like you can just kind of move out and then just drop the Spike Growth. It also just makes it really, really good at dealing with crowds. If you have a monk on your team, he's gonna love you. Okay. 11th level. This is where we need the flat damage upgrade. Once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature, you see a creature marked by your Hunter's Mark need to be changed. You also deal that spell's extra damage to a different creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature. Okay. 2 problems. 1, it's Hunter's Mark reliant. We need to remove that. 2, it's once per turn. So this is a D6 of damage. That's not good enough. And it's spread out. Meaning, when you... it's spread out. Now, I'm okay with the Hunter specifically being tied to Hunter's Mark. Right? You pick a subclass, you're tied to Hunter's Mark. Right? You pick the Hunter, you're going to be looking to use Hunter's Mark. Especially after level 10, where Hunter's Mark suddenly becomes really, really good. This needs a major change. We need some damage output here. I don't know how much. Probably something like... I really enjoy Ensnaring Strike. Ensnaring Strike has also been buffed in this case. I believe I changed it so that it auto hits, and I think they and does the damage regardless, but you still have to save to get out of it. Most of the changes to the spells that the Ranger has have been, if it's attached to the attack, if it has you make an attack against a creature, and it does a thing, then you get the damage for free. The saving throw is not tied to the damage. The saving throw is tied to the effect. Okay. 11th level, we need something on the Ranger. Automatic what? Yeah, automatic damage. Not automatic ensnaring, automatic damage. So if you hit with the attack roll on Ensnaring Strike, you just get the smite damage because you're burning a resource for it. It's only like a die of damage, but it's not huge. And it's still concentration based. So it's like, you don't get the Hunter's Mark with it. And then they have to make the saving throw. It's like smite. Because if you smite, you automatically do damage. It's in the same category. Like the Ranger and the Paladin have the similar design space in terms of when they get stuff and how they should get stuff. Paladin's just overtuned because for whatever reason, Wizards of the Coast just like Paladins. Oh, it's 6:30 already. Jeez. Okay. When is my next ad? In 11 minutes. Okay, I need to make sure I close up before 11 minutes goes by. Not because I want to make people like not watch ads, but because I actually should be closing down in the next few minutes. But I want to try and see if I can get this done. So 11th major change. Bacon egg time. Bacon egg and then work. So 11 needs a major change. 15. What does 15th do? 15th doesn't need to be a damage boost, but it should be... It needs to be something that feels good. When you take damage, you can take a reaction to give yourself resistance to that damage and any other damage of the same type until the end of the current turn. That's... So it's like Uncanny Dodge, but better in some way, but slightly better. Because it means that it's good against multi-attack, which Uncanny Dodge is not. I think it's fine. The problem I have with this is that it does take your reaction, so... actually, no, it's fine. It's fine. I think the Hunter is actually in probably the best spot overall. Like, it's not insanely powerful, but it's good. So what do we want to give the Ranger here? We have Superior Hunter's Prey. So this is definitely going to be something that's related to Hunter's Mark. I feel like if we're going to have anything that's related to Hunter's Mark, it should be the Hunter subclass specifically. Right? It's specifically good with Hunter's Mark. I don't hate the idea, but I don't like the idea that it forces you to spread the damage out. So what if we made it so that 11th level, the Hunter specifically, does not need to concentrate on Hunter's Mark, period. Specifically, the Hunter. So they get more... Well, that just makes it so they get more castings of Spike Growth. Which is okay, but not really what we want. That doesn't help. Because that's all that really does. The additional dice be added. I'm very wary of adding additional X dice. Because like that's a dangerous thing. That's a very hard game to play without it getting out of control. At higher level casting only. So I'm utilizing some spell changes to the first level to the spell casting. So the major change that has happened to Hunter's Mark is that I'm adopting is if you cast it as a 3rd level spell, you no longer have to concentrate on it. So if you expend 3 uses of your favorite enemy, you don't have to concentrate on Hunter's Mark anymore. but that requires 3 uses of it. Now, it lasts for 8 hours, but that's also a thing that's not available until 9th level for Rangers. And this is so that you can stack it with other concentration effects. And I think that level 9 is when you want that, because it's pretty kind of okay. Like, it's good up until 5. It's decent at 5, 6, 7. 7, it starts to fall off, kind of. And then 8 is, you know, kind of a bit of a weird level for it, sure. And then 9 kind of brings it back in by saying, hey, you know that thing that kind of was okay before? Yeah, it's good now. I still want to keep the Hunter's Mark theme going for the Ranger, because I think that's fine. I think just adding an extra damage die to the Hunter's Mark damage is going to be okay. Not per turn, not per hit. That's too much. I don't think it actually needs to be a major change. It can be changed. There. When you hit a creature that has hunters, when you hit a creature, when a creature is damaged by your Hunter's Mark. Once per turn, you may deal I don't want to just do flat damage. That's kind of boring and dumb. But it's kind of just needed. Like, you just need a flat damage boost. $2d6, 2d8, 2d6 is 7 on average, which is, I think, okay. No. I got a better idea. I got a better idea. Fire Horde Breaker. Fire Colossus Slayer. Oh, okay. Colossus Slayer or Horde Breaker feature. Is damaged by your Colossus Slayer or Horde Breaker feature. Once per turn, you may deal an additional 2d6 damage to that creature. So this makes you better at Horde Breaking or better at Colossus Slaying. And it removes it from Hunter's Mark. There's a damage boost. It leans into a previous feature. It doesn't tie you to Hunter's Mark specifically. That's it. That's it right there. I think that's the trick right there. It makes you better at the thing that you're already good at. All right. It is nearly 1:45. I should have gotten off like 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to call it here. I think this is actually probably the best change that I could possibly that I may actually be able to think of for the hunter. So, thank you very much, everybody, for swinging by. I know I got like just kind of run right away. Special shout out to a couple of individuals that gave me the follow. The Captain Seb and for following last night, Luna and Wavy. Thank you very much for swinging by with the follows and having a chat with me. Appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, guys. Have a good day.